India Today, as always, is getting you all the action from ground zero. And our National Affairs Editor, Rahul Srivastava, is joining us on this broadcast. Rahul, good morning. I'm sure Gorakhpur is completely painted saffron today.
Good morning, Akshita. Gorakhpur is not only just saffron today, it's a very wet and windy morning here. And when I spoke to some of the BJP leaders, they said that if it rains before the event, it's good omen. And the BJP will seriously be hoping that the contest of Mr. Yogi Adityanath from Gorakhpur will become the virtual epicenter for the BJP's effort to retain power. Remember, for any chief minister to have completed full term and then come back to power is a rarity in Uttar Pradesh. And that is why we are here in Uttar Pradesh. What is Karhal to Samajwadi Party and Akhilesh Yadav, Gorakhpur is for the BJP and Yogi Adityanath. And we are here at the Maharana Pratap International College. Yogi Adityanath, before going to file his nomination in Gorakhpur, will be coming along with Amit Shah, Dharmendra Pradhan and others to this spot, address a small public meeting. And the venue where he is supposed to file the nomination is just right across the road. So instead of taking those big armored bulletproof cars, Yogi Adityanath is expected to walk down from here and file his nomination in an office. And it's going to be a very, very solitary affair in which Yogi Adityanath will not be accompanied by too many people, but the proposers and others. At the Maharana Pratap College, there is a lot of preparations going on. If Kripal Singh, my camera, could show you that there are a lot of arrangements being made because COVID protocols have to be observed. So the distancing is extremely critical as far as the sitting arrangement concerned. But if you see the notices here, it's a lot about Yogi Adityanath and the mutt, the Gorakhnath mutt, and also interestingly, Amit Shah. What one finds here is that there is very little of Narendra Modi. There are hardly any, barring that one there, there is not many other posters and hoardings of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Mr. Yogi Adityanath is contesting a Vidhan Sabha or an assembly election for the first time in his career since he became a member of the 12th Lok Sabha in 1998. And from there on, it's his first battle for an assembly leading a political party. Let's see how Yogi Adityanath is going to file his nomination and what his Gorakhpur Connect is. Akshita, you can explain.
Even as you're getting us a sense of, the mood on the ground and how Yogi Adityanath will be filing his nomination papers today, there's a reason that this particular seat has been chosen for Yogi Adityanath. And Eastern Uttar Pradesh itself is so very crucial, also called Purvanchal, of course. It's so crucial for the BJP, which is why they're also banking largely on Yogi Adityanath. And the fact that you also showed us those images of how, a lot of the posters in every part of the country during election season, the BJP banks on one face, that of Narendra Modi. In Uttar Pradesh, it is Yogi Adityanath. Most of the posters there with Yogi Adityanath's image. He's dominating that particular area.
Yogi Adityanath has deep connection with Gorakhpur. In the adjoining areas, he always wielded influence. But every political leader is nervous before that one crucial day when he's filing his nomination. And for Yogi Adityanath, the source of his political energy and political career has been the Gorakhdam temple. My colleague Abhishek Mishra is there. Abhishek, if you can hear me, has Yogi ji finished his morning prayers? We hear that he was up at around 5:30 in the morning.
Well, absolutely. It is very important, Rahul, for Yogi Adityanath. The Rudrabhishek is going on there. All the rituals are going down. And it is very important that how Yogi Adityanath had decided to spend this whole day, beginning with his, daily routine, which he does at the head of the mud. And at the same time today, since it is again an important day, because for the first time he's filing his nomination, but we are getting to know that he will be going to receive Amit Shah at the airport, who is all set to come at around 10:30. And from there, they will be moving towards for filing his important nominations, and that is something around 11:30. So that is the day, and ahead of the day, it is also very important that how the BJP, by fielding Yogi Adityanath from Gorakhpur. It's not only just about Gorakhpur, it's about the whole belt, be it, Kushinagar, be it all the other districts which are adjoining to them. And we've also seen earlier also how PM Narendra Modi has visited this particular belt more time than any other constituencies. So that gives us a reflection of how Purvanchal is very important for Yogi Adityanath, very important for the BJP. They are trying to get the mandate in their favor. 115 was the number from this belt in terms of seats. But this time the battle is crucial. And that's the reason that Yogi Adityanath has decided to, contest this election. So it's going to be a very big day. Yogi Adityanath is all set, and it looks like that the BJP top leaders, be it Amit Shah, UP in charge, Dharmendra Pradhan, the UP chief, Swatantra Dev Singh, and all those leaders will be here in Gorakhpur supporting his candidature and giving a strong message that this belt belongs to the BJP, and that will also be evident on the February 10th, March 10th, when the results will be announced. Yes.
Abhishek, don't go away. We have a lot to discuss with you. Yogi Adityanath has been controversy's own child, right since he broke into the politics of Gorakhpur and Uttar Pradesh as a saffron-clad political leader, the head of the mutt in Gorakhpur. He has quoted controversies, and his statements can never be called tempered. What Yogi Adityanath is known for, and perhaps that's what the BJP perhaps thinks is his USP when it takes him to several states, campaigns and elections for assemblies and Lok Sabha, is perhaps his stridence, both in terms of his comments and also in terms of his politics and his Hindutva politics. Let's take a look at how Yogi Adityanath has campaigned for BJP, attacking his rivals and perhaps projecting what he has achieved in the last 5 years to be voted back to power.
जो जनता की समस्या है, हम उसको जनता के बीच में बोलेंगे। इन्होंने न बिजली दी है, न पानी दिया है, न सड़क दी है, न चिकित्सा केंद्रों में चिकित्सक दिए हैं। इंसेफ्लाइटिस के लिए जितना पैसा केंद्र ने दिया है, इन्होंने केवल बंदर बांट किया है। प्रदेश में भेदभाव किसी के साथ नहीं होगा, लेकिन कानून को हाथ पर लेकर के खिलवाड़ करने की इजाजत भी किसी को नहीं होगी।
देश के अंदर केंद्र सरकार के द्वारा लोक कल्याणकारी योजनाओं को प्रत्येक नागरिक तक बिना भेदभाव के पहुंचाने के अभियान हो, चाहे वह इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के माध्यम से उत्तर प्रदेश के विकास को एक नई ऊंचाई तक पहुंचाने का कार्यक्रम हो, या उत्तर प्रदेश की आस्था को एक नया पंख दे करके यहां की आस्था का सम्मान करने का कार्यक्रम हो, या फिर उत्तर प्रदेश राज्य के पूरे परसेप्शन को बदल करके उत्तर प्रदेश में भी विकास होगा।
Yogi Adityanath has to lead the BJP for what the BJP expects is going to create history as far as a win in UP consecutive terms. But Yogi Adityanath in 2017 was not the chosen one. There were hushed whispers, there were talk about him as being one of the prominent faces. But just one day before the Chief Minister was to be elected by the BJP in March 2017, it seemed Manoj Sinha who was leading the race. But then suddenly, right in front of the UP Assembly, drove Yogi Adityanath in a white Fortuner as the chosen one, as the head of the BJP's elected 312 odd MLAs. And on the 26th of March, Yogi Adityanath became the BJP's UP Chief Minister, with perhaps the only BJP leader to command full majority. And after that, it's been a journey. Which one can say has been checkered. There have been charges of in terms of poor handling of COVID, law and order, very heavy-handed attempts. It's largely a journey ridden with controversies. If one traces back Yogi's journey from Uttar Pradesh, one can find that it is somebody who has invoked a lot of emotions, lot of reactions, strong ones, and perhaps sometimes not so acceptable ones.
A child named Ajay Singh Bisht was born on June 5, 1972 in a village in Garhwal. Little did anyone know that the boy would leave his family at the age of 21 and become a sannyasi known as Yogi Adityanath, who would eventually reach the top post of the country's most populous state. Although very little is known of his pre-yogi days, his father, Anand Singh Bisht, says his son always wanted to serve the people.
मैं भी एक खुशी है कि वो अपने मंजिल की राह देख रहे हैं और आखिर उन्होंने वो राह पकड़ ली और उसमें सफलता मिल गई उनको। फिर जन सहयोग बहुत मिला उनको। 325 विधायकों ने हाथ जोड़ करके खड़ा उनका समर्थन किया है। ये मुझे बड़ी खुशी है और मैं कल से ही बड़ी ऊर्जा मिल रही है मुझे।
Ajay Singh Bisht completed his BSc degree from HNB Garhwal University. In 1994, Yogi Adityanath became a disciple of Adityanath at the Gorakhpur temple. According to temple's traditions, his ears were pierced. He addressed Mahant Adityanath, his maternal uncle, as Guruji. Yogi Adityanath jumped into the political arena in 1998 when he was elected as a Lok Sabha member from Gorakhpur. This year saw Mahanta Adityanath, a key leader of the 90s Ram Temple movement, passing his baton to Yogi Adityanath, who emerged as a controversial Hindu leader known for his hate speeches. Yogi continued to win the seat for 5 times with large margins, except in 2004 when the Samajwadi Party's Jamuna Nishad gave him a tough fight. He won by just 5,000 votes. In 2014, Yogi Adityanath took over as chief priest of Gorakhpur temple after Mahanta Adityanath passed away. Adityanath's radical pro-Hindutva image came to the fore for the first time in February 1999, when he allegedly tried to capture a graveyard land by planting a peepal tree at Panchrukhia village in Maharajganj district. A case under several sections was registered against him in the Kotwali police station. Bureau Report, India Today.
Yogi Adityanath and BJP may be claiming that they have done everything possible for a second term to be voted back to power, but everybody, it seems, needs divine intervention. And where Abhishek Mishra is standing, we have the first visuals of Yogi Adityanath performing a havan. Abhishek, can you take us through the visuals?
Well, absolutely. He's performing the Havan. It is the important Rudrabhishek which has been concluded, and now it is, as we have seen, how beautifully the visuals are, and it is very important, as we are time and again saying, that today is a big day, and through this day, Yogi Adityanath is not only, fielding in the political fight against the Samajwadi Party as a candidate, but also giving a strong message of his own governance, of his own work. He has worked 5 years as the Chief Minister. All the top leaders are going at the doorstep of the people with the report card, be it JP Nadda, be it Amit Shah, and they all are speaking about how the picture, how the scenario has changed in Uttar Pradesh in past 5 years. They are setting a narrative of how, the Gunda Raj, the Mafia Raj, and all those anti-social elements who were earlier there have been removed, and there has been a lot of work as far as law and order is concerned. So that is something which they are offering and which they are promising to the voters, and with the vision and the leadership of Yogi Adityanath. We have seen that, initially also when he saw in as the Chief Minister, the one thing which he did was, taking a step about the women's security, the anti-Romeo squad, and, and steps like where it was a strong message that, the law and order is going to be intact in this state, which has always struggled with. So So that is something which all the leaders are doing. And but as far as today's nomination is concerned, yes, CM Adityanath is filing it. It's going to be a big day. The presence of Amit Shah, itself shows that how important it is for the top leadership. Yesterday also we have seen JP Nadda joined Keshav Maurya in Siratu for his nomination. There also he spoke about the governance and all those things which the government has done. So, in the long term, in a long way, it looks like that, to give a strong message to the people about how there has been a change in terms of governance, in terms of law and order, and also as an administrator, as the head of the state, Yogi Adityanath has what he has done and how far the BJP thinks about, taking this state forward. It's something which the whole campaign is all around, and the same thing all these leaders are also saying. So yes, Yogi Adityanath is all set. He's doing all. He's performing all these final rituals, and afterward he will move towards state to the venue.
Abhishek, what I'm interested in knowing is what about the proposers for Yogi Adityanath? You see, we have seen that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, for example, filing his nomination, chooses his proposers very well. People from different community, different economic groups. Is Yogi Adityanath doing something like that?
Well, absolutely. It's going to be very important as far as the proposals are concerned. What we are getting to know, there could be 4 proposers for Yogi Adityanath this time, and they all are coming from different backgrounds, different societies, segment of the societies. We are getting to know that the president of the Vishwanath Redas Temple, who himself belongs to a Dalit community, will be there. Mayankeshwar Pandey, Shiksha with he is educationist, he will also be there. Surendra Agarwal, he is industrialist, he will be there. And Mangalesh Srivastav. These are the 4 people which we are getting to know from the sources that will be one of the proposers of Adityanath. And it's a clear message that the equations as far as the social harmony is concerned and representation from all these castes and all these societies gives a clear indication that what is actually the BJP plan. That is what is evident in the campaign as well. All the top political leaders have been talking about, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, and the work has been done in the past 5 years. Yes, there has been a lot of accusations by the opposition about the fact that, CM has just done the work only what have been offered from the center. But the BJP's time and again has said that it is only because of the CM Adityanath that whatever has been done, be it, the COVID management, the testing which has been done, the vaccination where UP is leading as of now, in whole India with more than 20 crores vaccination, and the first dose is almost complete for everyone, 100% for the first dose. So all these milestones which the BJP leaders are talking about, yes.
Abhishek, what is interesting this time around, that when we keep talking about political parties, we say that how they have changed their political democratic base, demographic base, in terms they're changing electorate, that somebody gets the votes of backwards, somebody gets MBCs, Dalits and others. But I think the UP politics this time around also has one interesting feature, that compared to the relative politics in India, average age group in terms of the top contesters is below 50 this time around. The top 2 contestants, Akhilesh Yadav, Yogi Adityanath, both are, what one can say is, both are below 50. They are relatively younger by Indians' political standards. What is also interesting in this contest is both have built it up as a summit battle between them. Yogi Adityanath with his strident Hindutva, with his tough image, in which one way I would like to tell the viewers that Yogi Adityanath may not have contested, for example, from a constituency like Ayodhya, but he has a very deep Ayodhya connect. In 1967, Mahant Digvijayanath, who was the Gorakhpur Urban chief at that time, had contested the Lok Sabha election. And on 26th of December in 1949, he was one of the principal men to have moved that statue of Ramlala inside the Babri Mosque. He is said to be one of the key conspirators in that element. Then comes Avednath, the guru of Yogi Adityanath. He had contested elections and he was part of the Ram Janmabhoomi Temple construction campaign. And Yogi Adityanath didn't contest. He has come to Gorakhpur, but has started what is called a summit battle with Akhilesh Yadav, who seems to have come out on his own this time around, out of the shadows of father Mulayam Singh Yadav, out of the shadows of Uncle Shivpal Singh Yadav. This time around, there is a sense of confidence about Akhilesh Yadav. Instead of tying up big alliances with Rahul Gandhi's Congress or Mayawati's BSP, Akhilesh Yadav this time has gone in for tactical alliances, small caste groups, hurting the BJP by getting BJP leaders into party fold, pushing the BSP aside as a third player. Akhilesh Yadav has created what one can say with Yogi Adityanath and the BJP, what is called one of the epic battles of Uttar Pradesh assembly elections. Let's take a look at how this battle is unfolding.
कवायद के दिन तक भी तुम्हारी जो है, कयामत के दिन तक भी तुम्हारा ये सपना साकार नहीं होने वाला है, ये मान करके चल लो। लेकिन ये देख लो, 10 मार्च के बाद ये पूरी गर्मी शांत करवा देंगे।
वो हमारे मुख्यमंत्री हैं, वो कोई कंप्रेसर थोड़ी है कि हमें ठंडा कर देंगे। हमारे बहुत सारे लोग हैं, जानते होंगे, फ्रिज में ठंडी चीज रखने के लिए कंप्रेसर होता है। कंप्रेसर खराब हो जाए तो क्या मुख्यमंत्री जी हमारे कंप्रेसर हैं?
During this election campaign, and it's virtually not even half over, one has seen tremendous amount of acrimony between political parties, political leaders calling each other names, charging each other with outrageous claims. But sometimes in politics does throw up what can be called nice moments. And those nice moments in which one can see that even political rivals do create moments which can be heartwarming, that politics is not about just mudslinging. Perhaps a similar event happened yesterday when the campaign Rath movement of convoy of Priyanka Gandhi, Congress face in Uttar Pradesh, Akhilesh Yadav and Jayant Chaudhary on top of the campaign Rath of Akhilesh Yadav, they cross paths. While there were apprehensions that with two warring sides confronting each other on a very narrow lane, there could well be a confrontation. But no, the two leaders on the two sides perhaps diffused the situation. Priyanka Gandhi waved out to Akhilesh Yadav and Jayant Chaudhary of the RLD who were on top of the Rath, and they waved back. And that perhaps set the tone for what is called, I think, one of the nicest moments of this election. But then politics takes over everything. The BJP perhaps is already on the warpath saying that all this was stage managed, and that is why what they are trying to paint is that the RLD, Samajwadi Party and the Congress are tacit allies in these elections.
They say the road to Delhi goes through Uttar Pradesh. And on Thursday evening, two sets of fellow political travelers collided on the campaign trail for the most crucial assembly elections. At political crossroads, former allies turned rivals Akhilesh Yadav, Jayant Chaudhary and Priyanka Gandhi Vadra came face to face on the streets of western Uttar Pradesh. The new UP ke ladke were on top of a bus and the Congress General Secretary on her car in Bulandshahr. SP and Congress workers erupted into cheers as the two leaders waved at each other. Priyanka, sitting atop of a vehicle, waved at Akhilesh, who was joined by RLD chief Jayant Chaudhary in greeting her back. Both Akhilesh and Jayant folded their hands into a namaste standing on their campaign bus. The SP chief took to Twitter to share a picture of their rendezvous. He captioned it, "Ek dua salam, tehzeeb ke naam." Priyanka too shared a video of the chance encounter and replied, "Hamari bhi aapko ram ram." The two former allies were all smiles at each other, standing across each other. Nearly 5 years after they hit a bump in the road in the 2017 poll debacle. Will their paths align again, or will the road take another turn in the journey of the throne in Lucknow? Bureau Report, India Today.
Our coverage of Yogi Adityanath's crucial nomination that could set the tone for the BJP in eastern UP and perhaps all over the Uttar Pradesh. We are in Gorakhpur. It's been a wet and windy morning here. Yogi Adityanath, UP Chief Minister, is going to file his nomination for the first time in his career. The 5-term MP is going to file a nomination as member of the Legislation Assembly. A lot is at stake for Yogi Adityanath from Gorakhpur and in Uttar Pradesh. If he wins this election, he will be creating history. The first Chief Minister in UP history to actually complete a 5-year term and then go on to win an election. But if Yogi Adityanath can't lead the BJP, it will mean that the BJP's 2024 battle will definitely suffer a setback. All is set here at the Maharana Pratap Inter College in Gorakhpur for Yogi Adityanath to come before his nomination. At this stage, he will be standing with Amit Shah, the Home Minister, who is perhaps sending out a signal how significant the nomination of Yogi Adityanath is and how significant the battle of Gorakhpur is for the BJP in these elections. Importantly, the BJP fielded him not from Ayodhya or Mathura to send out a strident Hindutva signal, but from his home turf in Gorakhpur. Now, what is interesting here this time is that not just the leaders are going to be there, there are going to be big-time singers, not from Uttar Pradesh, but from Haryana. Mr. Rocky Mittal is with me. Mittal साहब, यहाँ सुबेरे गोरखपुर में आप क्या कर रहे हैं?
मैं योगी जी का प्रचार करने आया हूँ और 1200 किलोमीटर से चल कर आया हूँ और मैंने योगी जी के 10 गीत बनाए हैं।
एक गीत कोई ऐसा जो छोटा सा सुनाइए।
एक गीत मेरा अभी बड़ा सुपरहिट चल रहा है, सपा बसपा ना आए कभी लौट के, योगी लिख दिया एक एक वोट पे।
सुनाइए साहब ये।
सपा बसपा ना आए कभी लौट के, योगी लिख दिया एक एक वोट पे, के सबको धूल चटा, योगी आएंगे डंके की चोट पे, के सबको धूल चटा, योगी आएंगे डंके की चोट पे।
बहुत शुक्रिया। So this is the mood here at Gorakhpur Maharana Pratap Inter College. For Yogi Adityanath, it's been a very tough 5 years. He took charge. He was not the chosen one. Yogi Adityanath was a member of parliament from Gorakhpur, and suddenly on the 26th of March, he was declared chief minister and he took charge of perhaps one of the most politically critical states for the BJP. Yogi Adityanath had to battle some very adverse publicity during the pandemic for poor handling. Yogi Adityanath also had to face charges for very tough handling on the law and order. What today the BJP talks about as perhaps his USP to be voted back to power. Let's take a look at how these 5 years have been for Yogi Adityanath.
स्वाहा स्वाहा ओम काया स्वाहा।
जो जनता की समस्या है हम उसको जनता के बीच में बोलेंगे। इन्होंने न बिजली दी है, न पानी दिया है, न सड़क दी है, न चिकित्सा केंद्रों में चिकित्सक दिए हैं। इंसेफ्लाइटिस के लिए जितना पैसा केंद्र ने दिया है, इन्होंने केवल बंदर बांट किया है।
प्रदेश में भेदभाव किसी के साथ नहीं होगा, लेकिन कानून को हाथ पर लेकर के खिलवाड़ करने की इजाजत भी किसी को नहीं होगी।
A child named Ajay Singh Bisht was born on June 5, 1972 in a village in Garhwal. Little did anyone know that the boy would leave his family at the age of 21 and become a sannyasi known as Yogi Adityanath, who would eventually reach the top post of the country's most populous state. Although very little is known of his pre-Yogi days, his father, Anand Singh Bisht, says his son always wanted to serve the people.
हमें भी खुशी है कि वो अपने मंजिल की राह देख रहे हैं और आखिर उन्होंने वो राह पकड़ ली और उसमें सफलता मिल गई उनको। फिर जन सहयोग बहुत मिला उनको। 325 विधायकों ने हाथ जोड़ करके खड़ा उनका समर्थन किया है। ये मुझे बड़ी खुशी है और मैं कल से ही बड़ी ऊर्जा मिल रही है मुझे।
Ajay Singh Bisht completed his BSc degree from HNB Garhwal University. In 1994, Yogi Adityanath became a disciple of Adityanath at the Gorakhnath temple. According to temple's traditions, his ears were pierced. He addressed Mahant Adityanath, his maternal uncle, as Guruji. Yogi Adityanath jumped into the political arena in 1998 when he was elected as a Lok Sabha member from Gorakhpur. This year saw Mahant Adityanath, a key leader of the 90s Ram Temple movement, passing his baton to Yogi Adityanath, who emerged as a controversial Hindu leader known for his hate speeches. Yogi continued to win the seat for 5 times with large margins, except in 2004 when the Samajwadi Party's Jamuna Nishad gave him a tough fight. He won by just 5,000 votes. In 2014, Yogi Adityanath took over as chief priest of Gorakhnath temple after Mahant Adityanath passed away. Adityanath's radical pro-Hindutva image came to the fore for the first time in February 1999, when he allegedly tried to capture a graveyard land by planting a peepal tree at Panchrukhia village in Maharajganj district. A case under several sections was registered against him in the Kotwali police station. Bureau Report, India Today.
Before every election, the BJP has always the swagger of a winner. Even today, ahead of Yogi Adityanath's nomination, the BJP is enthusiastic. Its cadre says it's a virtually won battle. But even the best of the leaders, howsoever confident they may, before the elections in India, does seek divine intervention. And Yogi Adityanath is not different. Abhishek Mishra is standing by at the Gorakhpur temple, which perhaps is the font and source of Yogi Adityanath's political energy. Abhishek, are the rituals and the prayers over? Is Yogi Adityanath now all set to walk out of the temple and then come to Maharana Pratap Inter College, where I am, and then proceed for his nomination?
Well, absolutely. The rituals are all over and he's all set to reach there where you are right now. I am currently traveling to the airport where Amit Shah is going to come soon and we will get you the first visuals. But it is very important, Rahul, as you have said, that, you know, this whole event, the nomination, it is not just a nomination of CM Adityanath or, you know, any other CM. It has a big meaning to it because we have seen how from the past couple of months, BJP has been, you know, has already begun this campaign in a way by getting the work of the government at the doorstep of the people. They were only talking about all those, the work and the schemes of the government. But politically, it has a relevance. CM Adityanath comes from Gorakhpur and he's fighting this battle. There, you can recall there was a lot of speculations, a lot of talk about choosing Ayodhya, for instance, for his battle. But he is now contesting from Gorakhpur, and the reason being is a major thing that the Purvanchal battle is very important for the BJP. And from today's nomination, there will be clear message that the BJP top leaders and including CM Adityanath has worked on the ground. And this is a reflection of it that CM decided to contest for this election and decided to get into the battle against Samajwadi Party from Gorakhpur itself. You can recall there was a time when in the by-election Samajwadi Party was able to get that seat in the by-election, but soon after, Ravi Kishan, contested, and now he's the MP from Gorakhpur. So the thing is that the BJP is setting a clear message that this whole belt belongs to them, and with Gorakhpur and Gorakhdham, both these has a major relevance to it. CM Adityanath, who has been, active CM for the 5 years, is going to the people with their work. So all this evaluation is there, but his nomination coming from Gorakhpur seat, urban seat, and along with all these top leaders is a clear message about the importance of this fight for the BJP.
Thanks, Abhishek. This seat is Gorakhpur Sadar. It's been actually, interestingly, the BJP and before that, the BJP's parent party, the Bharatiya Janasangh, used to do pretty well here at this time. In fact, the BJP, out of the 17 elections, has won this seat 12 odd times. That means that this seat is one of the safest seats for the BJP. But the BJP is not taking chances. And in fact, it is using it as a sounding board, perhaps to send out a signal for entire Uttar Pradesh. at Maharana Pratap Inter College, if one can see that before he goes for the nomination, there is going to be a small public meeting. And if my camera person Kripal can show, the arrangement is there. Nearly 500 odd seating arrangement has been made. COVID protocol is one big important element. So that is why one can see that in all the enclosures you have policemen who will be ensuring that COVID protocols are followed. But one interesting element I see here is that the posters and the hoardings which have been put largely have Amit Shah, Yogi Adityanath. You have Yogi Adityanath's Gorakhpur, and there are electric buses. There are posters of Deen Dayal Upadhyay. If the camera can pan across left further, there is Deen Dayal Upadhyay there, but there is very little of Narendra Modi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is not there as part of the big splash that the BJP is planning to create here. It is a lot about Yogi Adityanath and his Gorakhpur. How this battle will turn out, how today the BJP is going to utilize to create a big splash in Gorakhpur. We'll be back with more. The battle for Uttar Pradesh, throne of Uttar Pradesh this time around is interesting, not just because the elections are going to impact who will rule Delhi perhaps after 2024. It is also crucial because this time around, compared to average age of Indian politicians, this time around the two big contestants as far as the chief ministerial post is concerned are relatively younger. By Indian standards, they are below 50 years of age. Akhilesh Yadav and Yogi Adityanath both perhaps represent the new breed of leaders in Uttar Pradesh for the BJP and the Samajwadi Party. Akhilesh Yadav seems to have come on his own. The last time around UP went to elections, he was under tremendous pressure. There was a family feud which was raging inside his party, and that really hit the party's fortune. Yogi Adityanath was not the chosen one. In fact, it was on the day the legislature met and declared him, even he didn't know that he is going to be the chief minister of Uttar Pradesh for the next 5 years. This time the election has been a lot about Yogi Adityanath and Akhilesh Yadav, how their parties are backing them, how they are trying to craft their strategy. Two very divergent campaigning style. Yogi Adityanath's saffron-robed chief minister of UP, very strident in his campaigning. Akhilesh Yadav, definitely much more feisty than what he used to be this last time or in the earlier election. It has perhaps set up a summit battle which will define the politics of UP and India perhaps in the coming days.
कवायद के दिन तक भी तुम्हारी जो है, कयामत के दिन तक भी तुम्हारा ये सपना साकार नहीं होने वाला है, ये मान करके चल लो। लेकिन ये देख लो, 10 मार्च के बाद ये पूरी गर्मी शांत करवा देंगे।
वो हमारे मुख्यमंत्री हैं, वो कोई कंप्रेसर थोड़ी है कि हमें ठंडा कर देंगे। हमारे बहुत सारे लोग हैं, जानते होंगे, फ्रिज में ठंडी चीज रखने के लिए कंप्रेसर होता है। कंप्रेसर खराब हो जाए तो क्या मुख्यमंत्री जी हमारे कंप्रेसर हैं?
The campaigning for UP Assembly election has virtually just begun. We're not even halfway through it. But the amount of acrimony and mudslinging we have seen in this election perhaps is unprecedented. Almost every political party has taken off the gloves and is attacking the political rivals. And there have been some very, very unsavory moments in this campaign till now. But then, in UP, politics does sometimes throw up what can be called the nice, heartwarming moment. And one of them was witnessed yesterday in Bulandshahr. Akhilesh Yadav and RLD chief Jayant Chaudhary were campaigning on top of Akhilesh Yadav's Vikas Rath. And then on the busy, congested streets of Bulandshahr, the Congress campaign, Priyanka Gandhi also drove up. There was a virtual eyeball-to-eyeball confrontation for a few seconds. But then, ice was melted by Priyanka Gandhi. She waved out to Akhilesh Yadav and Jayant Chaudhary, who were on top of the Rath, and they both folded their hands, waved at Priyanka Gandhi and defused the situation. What perhaps was set up then was a reminder that even in Indian politics, there can be moments which can be called savory and perhaps palatable.
They say the road to Delhi goes through Uttar Pradesh. And on Thursday evening, two sets of fellow political travelers collided on the campaign trail for the most crucial assembly elections. At political crossroads, former allies turned rivals Akhilesh Yadav, Jayant Chaudhary and Priyanka Gandhi Vadra came face to face on the streets of western Uttar Pradesh. The new UP ke ladke were on top of a bus and the Congress General Secretary on her car in Bulandshahr. SP and Congress workers erupted into cheers as the two leaders waved at each other. Priyanka, sitting atop of a vehicle, waved at Akhilesh, who was joined by RLD chief Jayant Chaudhary in greeting her back. Both Akhilesh and Jayant folded their hands into a namaste standing on their campaign bus. The SP chief took to Twitter to share a picture of their rendezvous. He captioned it, "Ek dua salam, tehzeeb ke naam." Priyanka too shared a video of the chance encounter and replied, "Hamari bhi aapko ram ram." The two former allies were all smiles at each other, standing across each other. Nearly 5 years after they hit a bump in the road in the 2017 poll debacle. Will their paths align again, or will the road take another turn in the journey of the throne in Lucknow? Bureau Report, India Today.
At the Maharana Pratap Inter College in Gorakhpur, from where Yogi Adityanath will be addressing a public meeting before he heads out to file his nomination just across the street, barely a little distance away from here. The Netas have already started coming in for the function is about to start. We'll continue our show on how the BJP is making a big splash of Yogi Adityanath's nomination from Gorakhpur.